I, 35M, have been married to Becca, 34F, for 6 years now, and we dated for 2 years before getting married. We met at a tech conference in Chicago through our mutual friend Jason, 35M, who I've known since college. I still remember that day clearly. I almost skipped the conference due to a major software release at work, but Jason insisted I needed to get out more and meet new people. Becca caught my attention immediately at the conference. She was giving a presentation on UI/UX design trends, and I was impressed by her knowledge and confidence. I was working as a back-end developer at the time, and during the networking session, Jason introduced us. We hit it off instantly, talking about everything from coding preferences to our shared love of MMORPGs. She even teased me about my preference for Python over JavaScript. Our first date was at a local gaming cafe where we spent hours playing retro games and talking about our careers in tech. We discovered we had so much in common. Both of us were passionate about technology, enjoyed hiking on weekends, and were huge fans of indie game development. She even had a small collection of vintage gaming consoles, which matched perfectly with my old-school gaming enthusiasm. The next 2 years of dating were amazing. We moved in together after a year, and everything just clicked. We complemented each other perfectly. She was outgoing and social, while I was more reserved but enjoyed being part of her social circle. We even started a side project together developing mobile apps, which brought us even closer as we could combine her design skills with my programming expertise. Our wedding was small but perfect, just close friends and family. We had a gaming-themed wedding cake and even included some nerdy references in our vows. Everyone said we were perfect for each other, and honestly, I felt the same way. My sister Emma, 38F, often said we were her model for a healthy relationship. The first few years of marriage were great. We both worked at different tech companies but managed to maintain a good work-life balance. We had our routines, weekend hiking trips, monthly game nights with friends, and our annual tech conference attendance where we first met. We also hosted regular dinner parties for our gaming friends, where we'd spend hours playing board games and video games. Everything started changing when I got promoted to Senior Development Manager at my company in January this year. The promotion came with a significant pay raise but also meant longer hours and more responsibilities. I now had to manage a team of developers across different time zones, which meant early morning and late night calls became regular. At first, Becca was supportive. She understood this was a great opportunity for our future. I tried my best to maintain our connection, calling during breaks, texting throughout the day, and ensuring we had at least one full day together every week. We even set up a shared calendar to plan our time together better. Around March, I noticed changes in Becca's behavior. She joined a Discord server for Final Fantasy XIV and began spending more and more time there. Initially, I didn't think much of it. Gaming was always her hobby, and I was working long hours anyway. But soon she was spending 6 to 7 hours daily with her online gaming group, even on our designated date nights. What really concerned me was how our intimacy started declining. In the past 6 months, we've only been intimate once, and that incident was strange. She came home from work one day in May, unusually agitated and frustrated. She practically jumped on me the moment I got home. Afterward, she seemed distant and quickly went back to her gaming session. Something about that day didn't sit right with me, but I couldn't figure out why. 2 months ago, everything came to a head. I had planned a special date night, made reservations at the restaurant where we had celebrated our first anniversary, bought her favorite flowers, the works. She canceled at the last minute because her guild had an important raid scheduled. That's when I lost it. We had a huge fight where I finally expressed how I felt she didn't want to be in this relationship anymore. That's when she dropped the bomb. She had fallen out of love with me. She said it happened gradually over the past few months, but she couldn't pinpoint exactly when. She talked about feeling suffocated and wanting something new in life. The woman who had been my best friend and partner for 8 years now saw me as just a roommate. I was completely blindsided. Sure, things weren't perfect, but we had always been able to talk through our problems before. This felt different. She wasn't interested in finding solutions. She had already emotionally checked out of our marriage. I tried everything to save our relationship. I took 2 weeks off work, planned romantic dates, cooked her favorite meals, and suggested couples activities like hiking and painting classes that she used to enjoy. I even offered to cut back my hours at work, but nothing seemed to make a difference. The best response I got was that she loved me like a brother, not exactly what a husband wants to hear from his wife. Last week, I suggested she might want to move out for a while. I still love her deeply, but seeing her every day and knowing she doesn't feel the same way is killing me inside. She's been talking about wanting adventures and new experiences, and I don't want to hold her back. My family, especially Emma, thinks we're making a mistake. Emma keeps saying marriages have ups and downs, and we should try counseling before considering separation. My best friend Mike, 36M, agrees with Emma and says I'm giving up too easily. But I don't see it that way. How can I force someone to love me? Every time Becca looks at her phone and smiles, I wonder if she's texting her gaming friends. Every time she comes home late from work, I question everything. Yesterday, I overheard her on Discord telling someone how excited she was about moving out and starting fresh. She sounded happier than she had in months. Maybe this is for the best, but I can't help feeling like I failed somehow. Did I work too much? Did I not pay enough attention? Or do marriages just naturally evolve into friendships over time? I need advice. Am I giving up too easily by suggesting separation? Should I keep trying to save our marriage even though she clearly wants out? I feel lost and could use some outside perspective. Update 1. It's been 3 weeks since my original post, and things have spiraled in ways I never expected. I discovered why Becca was so excited about moving out, and it wasn't just about wanting independence or new adventures like she claimed. Last Tuesday, I was working late at the office, trying to finish a critical project when Mike called me around 9 p.m. He sounded uncomfortable and hesitant, which was unusual for him since we've been friends since college. He said he had seen something I needed to know about. A few minutes later, he sent me a screenshot from his girlfriend Amy's Instagram stories. The screenshot showed Becca at the Blue Room, our local gaming-themed bar, sitting very close to a guy I didn't recognize. They weren't just sitting together, his arm was around her waist, and she was leaning into him, laughing at something on his phone. The guy was wearing a Final Fantasy XIV t-shirt with the same guild logo I'd seen on Becca's Discord server. My hands were shaking as I called Becca. She didn't pick up. I texted her asking where she was, and she replied saying she was out with friends from the gaming group. I drove to the Blue Room, but by the time I got there, they were gone. I went home and waited. When Becca finally came home around midnight, she was surprised to see me waiting. I showed her the screenshot without saying a word. At first, she tried to play it off, saying he was just a friend from her gaming group who happened to be in town for a tech conference. But after an hour of back and forth, with me pointing out how close they were sitting and how intimate they looked, she finally broke down and told me the truth. His name is Alex, 31M, and they've been talking privately for months. It started with casual gaming sessions, then moved to private Discord calls, and eventually daily text messages. She claimed nothing physical had happened yet, but they had developed strong feelings for each other. She said he understood her in a way I never did, that they could talk for hours about games and anime without getting bored. Everything started making sense. The long hours on Discord weren't just about gaming with the guild, she was having private conversations with Alex. That day she came home extremely frustrated and jumped on me. She admitted she had spent the afternoon voice chatting with Alex, and their conversation had gotten flirty and intense. The sudden desire for adventures and new experiences? All inspired by her conversations with him about places they wanted to visit and things they wanted to do. What hurt even more was learning that Emma, my own sister, knew about Alex. Becca had confided in her weeks ago, and Emma had been trying to convince her to end things with Alex and work on our marriage. That's why Emma was pushing so hard for counseling. She betrayed my trust by keeping this from me, her own brother. When I confronted Emma, she broke down crying in my living room. She said she was trying to protect both of us. She thought if Becca ended things with Alex, we could still save our marriage. Emma didn't want to hurt me with information that might not matter if Becca chose to stay. But her silence only gave Becca more time to develop her relationship with Alex. The hardest part was when Becca tried to justify everything. She said she never meant for any of this to happen. According to her, Alex just got her in ways I never did. They share the same passion for obscure JRPGs and could talk for hours about character development and game mechanics. She said while I was busy with work calls and late nights at the office, Alex was there to listen to her thoughts and feelings. I told her she needed to move out immediately. She's currently staying with her friend Sarah until she finds her own place. Most of our friends are shocked, but a few have admitted they had suspicions. Amy, Mike's girlfriend, revealed she had seen Becca and Alex together at various gaming cafes multiple times before but thought they were just friends from her gaming group. She apologized for not saying anything sooner. What makes this even worse is how our gaming community is reacting. Since Becca and I were both active in local gaming circles, people are taking sides. Some mutual friends are saying I should have paid more attention to her interests, that I was too focused on work. Others think she was wrong to develop feelings for someone else while still married. Our monthly board game nights are effectively over since nobody wants to deal with the awkwardness. I've been staying at home, trying to process everything. Mike comes over regularly to check on me, and we've started our own gaming sessions to keep my mind off things. But it's hard. Every time I log into any of our shared gaming platforms, I see her avatar online, probably playing with him. The betrayal from Emma still stings. She keeps trying to explain her side, saying she was caught in an impossible situation. She's been bringing food over and trying to make amends, but I'm not ready to forgive her yet. My own sister chose to protect my wife's emotional affair instead of telling me the truth. Becca has been texting me about coming by to pick up more of her things. Each time she visits, she tries to explain herself again, saying she never meant to hurt me. But how can you trust someone who spent months building an emotional connection with another person while pretending everything was fine in your marriage? I'm meeting with a lawyer next week to discuss my options. I never thought I'd be thinking about divorce at 35, but here I am. I guess sometimes the game over screen comes when you least expect it. Update 2. It's been 2 months since my last update, and I've discovered even more lies that make me question everything about my relationship with Becca. Through mutual friends in the gaming community, I learned that Becca and Alex didn't just meet this year on Discord. They actually knew each other from college 10 years ago and had dated for almost a year back then. The truth came out when Ryan, an old college friend who's now part of our local gaming scene, recognized Alex at a gaming convention. Ryan pulled me aside and asked if I knew about Becca and Alex's history. When I looked confused, he realized I had no idea and felt obligated to tell me everything. Apparently, Becca and Alex dated during their junior year of college. They were both part of the campus gaming club and got together after organizing a gaming tournament. Their relationship ended when Alex got an internship in California and they decided long distance wouldn't work. After graduation, they lost touch as they focused on their careers. What's even more shocking is that their reconnection through Discord wasn't a coincidence. The gaming server Becca joined wasn't some random FFX of guild, it was one Alex had created specifically to reconnect with her. He had been searching for her on social media for years and finally found her through a mutual gaming friend. He invited her to the server in January, right when I got my promotion and started working longer hours. The worst part? Jason, our mutual friend who introduced us at the tech conference years ago, knew about their history. He was there in college when they dated. When he introduced us, he thought their relationship was ancient history and didn't matter anymore. He came clean last week after hearing about our separation, saying he feels guilty for not mentioning it sooner. Looking back, everything makes more sense now. The inside jokes they shared on Discord that nobody else seemed to get. The way they instantly clicked and could talk for hours. Even some of the games they played together were ones they had apparently enjoyed in college. Becca moved into her own apartment last month, and unsurprisingly, it's in the same building as Alex. She's still trying to paint herself as the victim, telling everyone how I was too focused on work and didn't understand her needs. She conveniently leaves out the part about emotionally cheating with her college ex for months. When I confronted her about hiding their history, she claimed she didn't think it was important to mention. According to her, their college relationship was so long ago that it didn't seem relevant. But how can reconnecting with an ex and hiding that fact from your spouse for months not be relevant? The gaming community has pretty much split in half. Some people, especially those who knew about their college relationship, think it's romantic that they found each other again. Others, like Mike and Ryan, see it for what it is, a deliberate deception that destroyed our marriage. Emma finally admitted she didn't know about their college history either. She feels even worse now about not telling me when she first learned about their reconnection. She said if she had known they were exes, she would have handled things differently. I've started going through old photos and messages from when Becca and I first met. There are group pictures from gaming events where you can see Alex in the background, something I never noticed before. He was always there, hovering on the periphery of our social circle, waiting for his chance. Jason tried to apologize, saying he really thought their college relationship was just a brief fling that meant nothing. But how could he not mention it when he saw them reconnecting and spending so much time together online? Some friend he turned out to be. The hardest part is realizing that while I was working extra hours to build a better future for us, Becca was rebuilding her connection with Alex. Every late night I spent at the office, every weekend call I had to take, gave them more time to reminisce about their college days and rekindle their old feelings. I've started individual therapy to deal with all this. Not because I want to reconcile, that ship has sailed, but because I need to process the betrayal and learn to trust again. The therapist says it's normal to question everything when you discover such long-term deception, but I can't help wondering what else I might not know about my 8-year relationship with Becca. Update 3 months have passed since my world turned upside down, and life looks completely different now. Becca and Alex are officially dating and living in the same apartment building. They don't even try to hide their relationship anymore, they're all over social media, posting about their gaming sessions, date nights, and inside jokes from their college days. I filed for divorce last month. Emma tried one last time to convince me to attempt reconciliation, saying people make mistakes and deserve second chances. But how can you forgive someone who spent months lying to your face while reconnecting with their college ex? The trust is completely shattered. Becca didn't just fall out of love with me, she actively chose to pursue someone else while pretending everything was fine. Our divorce proceedings have been messy. Becca initially wanted to keep our shared gaming collection, claiming most of the rare items were gifts from her friends. I had to fight through my lawyer to keep my original collection that I started years before meeting her. We're still arguing over who gets to keep our jointly developed mobile apps and their revenue. I've blocked Becca and Alex on all social media platforms. I also had to distance myself from several mutual friends who kept trying to defend Becca's actions. Some said things like sometimes people grow apart or everyone deserves to be happy. One friend even suggested I should be grateful that Becca didn't physically cheat on me while we were living together. I cut contact with anyone who tried to minimize what she did. The local gaming scene feels tainted now. I stopped going to our regular gaming cafes because they're now Becca and Alex's favorite date spots. I sold my FFXive account because too many memories were attached to it. Instead, I've started exploring single-player games I never had time for before. The silver lining in all this is that I've reconnected with old friends I had lost touch with. Mike has been incredibly supportive, and we've started a weekly board game night with some other friends. Ryan regularly checks in on me and has introduced me to his gaming group, which has become a welcome distraction. I'm focusing on my work and recently started a challenging new project that keeps me busy. My team has been understanding about my situation, and my boss even offered me some personal days to deal with the divorce proceedings. Last week, I ran into Becca at a tech conference. She tried to apologize, saying she should have been more honest from the start. She claimed she never meant to hurt me and hoped we could eventually be friends since we share the same social circle. I just walked away. Some things can't be fixed with an apology. Emma and I are slowly rebuilding our relationship. While I'm still hurt that she kept Becca's secret, I understand she was caught in a difficult position. We've started having dinner together once a week, carefully avoiding any discussion of Becca or Alex. The divorce should be finalized in a few months. I'm not dating and don't plan to anytime soon. This experience has taught me a lot about trust and the importance of honesty in relationships. It also showed me who my real friends are, the ones who stood by me without trying to justify Becca's actions. Sometimes I wonder if I could have done anything differently, but then I remember that Becca made her choice long before I discovered the truth. She chose to reconnect with Alex, chose to hide their history, and chose to build a relationship with him while still married to me. Those were her decisions, not mine. Life goes on, and each day gets a little easier. I'm focusing on healing and rebuilding my life without the person I thought would be by my side forever.